When I think of the hypocrisy that exists in this country and how gender and race operate,
I think of men who glorify and praise women on the 9th,
catcall them on the 10th,
beat them on the 11th,
then kill them on the 12th.
I think of men and how they try emasculate themselves into gods
by plowing into the crevices of every goddess they encounter.
How they try remind the female anatomy that the Bible says
that it were made from man's rib, yet fail to remind their inadequacies.
And it also says that her body is a temple,
something to be worshipped and worshipped in.
I think of women.
I think of women,
the ones who fulcrum this nation on their backs,
despite receiving kisses from fists from men who show their affection through blushing bruises.
I think of men who are happy sinners
and women who are breadwinners. I think of women
whose stomachs speak more than they do, whilst their rib cages line up like prison bars.
I think of prison bars and how they're filled to capacity by men.
I think of men who hate being called rape enablers more than they hate rapists.
The same way white people hate being called racist more than they hate racism.
I think of how God's gifts are forcefully returned in mailboxes from post offices that know nothing of a God.
I think of how God's gifts are forcefully returned in mailboxes from post offices that know nothing of a God. I think of God
and how sometimes his silence is deafening.
How I've heard men justify that exact silence as consent.
When I think of this country
and how race and gender operate,
I think of women who raise their fists like mute prayers,
praying to disappear. I think of women
who seek peace in the face of defeat, for she is struggling to make ends meet. I think of myself, Chedza Mashamba.
I think of myself, Lerato Josephs.
I am her.
Remember my name.
I think of now. If how they act around you and your body makes you uncomfortable and that uncomfort causes sexual trauma, then it is rape. Rape is not only sexual intercourse you didn't consent to. All forms of sexual trauma are valid. Don't allow the world to tell you how to feel if something has traumatized you sexually. You deserve to say no even to things like catcalling.